Hello and welcome back to the cast. Tonight is going to be a little bit of a quick one. I know I say that fairly often, but I think tonight will be it's been quite the week, but I mean, nothing huge like we've seen in the past. This week, two, maybe three really big things that we want to cover. First off the bat, Bev, what do we got?
Well, today I think we've got the most relevant news of the week, at least the most exciting, I think, for most people. Maybe even the most heartbreaking, but I guess so. All the big credit card companies have cut ties with PornHub following allegations of child abuse. So I guess there's been a couple issues with PornHub, I guess, and so I imagine some of these other porn sites will get the same treatment. But what's kind of interesting is with PornHub, so the whole thing with the story is there's all this content, I guess, on their site that was either illegal or illegal basically. And so there's all the credit card companies put a bunch of pressure on them to deal with it. And the way they put the pressure on was basically said, we're not going to process your payments anymore. So, of course, money talks. So PornHub, they were listening. They listened pretty closely, and they ended up scrapping all. I think it was all the non-verified, so like user uploaded, like YouTube style material, if you will, was all pulled off the website. So it's. Unfortunately, a lot of people, I'm sure they lost their all their favorite videos, but I don't know.
The funny thing about all this is that like for years, apparently, like the big like porn studios and that have been like lobbying to like, hey, you need to verify your shit better because people are uploading our copyrighted content that we produced for free on your platform. They've been like asking for them to do something about it for a super long time. And
like leaks and stuff like that.
Not even that. Just like people are taking videos that are like whatever, like Bang Bros or whatever one of those big ones is, and like taking those videos and uploading them to Pornhub for free, right? But then Pornhub also has a service where you, I think, pay to access those videos. Like, so it's like a partnered thing with all those bigger studios or whatever. But they didn't really give a shit, right? Because of that. But then as soon as all these, like, I think it was like child sex allegations and like rape videos and all this shit like was really like the catalyst for all this. But then basically, as soon as MasterCard and Visa jumped on board, they just pulled everything. So it actually kind of ended up being a double whammy because obviously it gets all of like this bullshit content off there that's potentially illegal and like rape and all that stuff, which is obviously terrible. But also for all these big production houses that make this stuff, they get their content rights kind of back as well because people were like watching this content without paying for it, right? So it's interesting. It does clean up a lot of things on their platform, and like it's funny that we're talking about it in such a serious light, but like it is a business. People do have companies where they put money into the equipment, the editing, like the talent and all the stuff for this, right? Just like any other production. So it's probably a good thing for their actual industry, to be honest. And then obviously it's a good thing for anybody who's videos were being put up there without their knowledge or that had content that definitely should have been up there. But yeah, it's interesting. It was kind of like the Wild West on that site, and I'm sure it's like that on a lot of others as well. So it kind of is like a double whammy. It solves some problems.
Well, let's be real here. Like you guys, I don't speak for you guys or anyone else, but I mean, when I'm looking at porn and stuff like that, like I don't want to see some grainy cell phone video, you know what I mean, like shot on a flip phone or something like that. I want
some production quality.
Exactly. I want the real deal. I want the legit thing. I don't want some sketchy like security camera looking thing or some like cell phone greasy cell. Like, I don't want that. Like, no, who wants to see that stuff? I guess some people do, but I mean, like that's not what you go there for, or what I would envision
the porn
going there
indie
for.
Films.
Well, it sounds like all the folks over at PornHub saw plenty of it. They're doing their investigation over the past several days. So I guess they, especially with everybody working from home, I'm sure they have plenty of volunteers for that one.
What other funny thing that I just noticed about this article is MasterCard, Visa, and Discover Card. Like,
I think they're pretty prominent in the States still, though, aren't they? Discover. I don't think they're really here.
Bev, can you pull that up there? Like, see the Discover Card's market share. Like, I know we're up here in Canada, and I've never seen a Discover Card in my life, but like, I can't imagine that it's that big. Like, yeah, it can't be that big of a market share.
Yeah. Oh,
Crushing
yeah.
it.
They're tiny. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I didn't realize American Express was so close to MasterCard.
Yeah,
I didn't
guess
realize
maybe
that
more in
either.
the States.
Yeah. No, I thought the MasterCard and Visa were pretty much the same. Like, but that being said, I don't own a MasterCard. Like, I own a
I used to
blank.
have one.
Yeah, I own
Yeah.
a blank. I own a blank card for everybody who's listening. Nothing.
Yeah. It's funny to think though that like their volume's small, but it's small in the scale of like still, well over $100 billion. That's a lot. It's,
Oh my
it's
God,
fucking
yeah.
crazy. I wouldn't mind being the fourth biggest fucking credit card company. I'll tell you that.
Oh my God, they're approaching $2 trillion at whatever their processing fees are, somewhere 2 or 3%. That's wild, Visa.
Visa's
Oh my
crushing it.
God. Yeah, hey,
That's a good business.
What's in your wallet?
is that
Like
MasterCard
2
or
or 3
Visas?
visas. Yeah.
Yeah, Visa all the way. But how funny is it though that old Pornhub, Montreal-based MindGeek, you know what I mean? The Canada connection.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
always-
that's right.
Yeah, I always knew like Montreal's like a good place to go party. I partied there a ton when I was through school and stuff like that. But the porn capital, like
They
Pornhub
become
is
the titans of industry for that one. Yeah.
like. Can you pull up MindGeek? Like, is it a publicly traded company? No, there's no way. Maybe, you never know.
Might
Is
be.
that their parent company? I never knew that.
Yeah, well, I was just reading in that article.
No, I don't think so.
MindGeek.
Privately held Canadian company. Yeah.
That started in 2004. 460 million in revenue. Oh man, that's
Well,
really good.
they got those ads pumping, right?
Yeah, and like people
Because
who,
people are really not. People are really watching the ads, not just skipping right through them.
well, whatever. Like I knew dudes who paid for it, and I thought they were insane. Like, what is the like literally millions of free videos is not good enough for you? He's like, no.
And they want that 4K. They don't want the grainy phone video that you spoke of earlier.
Whatever happened to, remember, I don't know, 5 years ago when Samsung was pushing those like VR headset things, like take your Samsung phone, clip it into this stupid thing and like play games and stuff like that. And they like, it's going to be VR porn. Like, did that ever turn into anything? Like, is that real? Or
I think Pornhub and other platforms like tried to support it, and then just like the fad itself, it just kind of died out. And
could you imagine you're sitting there with like goggles on and someone walks into your room?
you're just VR Pornhubbing it up. Oh my God, with your Discover card on the fucking counter, freshly swiped.
Well, may have to cut this story post production, but I remember the Don one time. So after he bought a Samsung phone years ago, and it came with one of those headsets. So he was showing it to us. He's like, "Oh, check it out! You can watch porn in fucking 3D or whatever, or in 360." He's like showing it. I'm like, "This is weird."
Shit.
I'm sitting with a couple of my buddies watching like fucking porn on some guy's
Jesus
phone
Christ.
headset thing. Yeah, I don't know about that, but they
Watching
still
fucking
do them
5D.
though. It's like a whole thing. Like my brother just got one of those. So the one he got is like it's got all these like lenses and shit in it. So it's actually like pretty high tech or whatever, all things considered. But it's you like plug your phone into it and it's supposed to like mellow out the resolution or something so your eyes can handle it better and all this other crap. But I don't think anyone really uses it. Like VR, I don't think really took off.
No. Well, there's like Oculus and stuff like that too, but like those are like $400 and they're standalone devices, and like even then I think Facebook bought Oculus recently, actually, in the last year or so.
they did.
But it seems like a bullshit, like just a shitty acquisition to me. Unless they're going to use the tech for something else, like nobody's jumping on it. Like, I'll tell you that right now. I don't see people running out of the mall with Oculus Rifts, and by the fucking boatload. So.
Well, I don't know if this is still the case, but I was talking to someone a few years ago, and they were day trading, and they were saying a lot of their day traders were using these VR headsets to get more screens and see more things when they were actually making their trades. So I'm so curious to see the trading floor now.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but that was a few years ago. They were playing around with that.
One guy's like, I'm on my break. He's just Pornhubbing it up.
Oh, here's a guy right here. He's like, can I use the Oculus Rift to replace my 6 monitors?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
God.
But I mean, like, that's what they were playing with, like, at some of the bigger at one of the bigger brokerages. And it's just, I'm really curious if that's actually still a thing. Because yeah, that would be insane. Like to have that access to that amount of information just by looking. That's insane.
I mean, your brain can still only really focus on one thing at a time. So it's
yeah. But I mean, like if you're looking around, like like we all have now at least 2 monitors on our home setup. I would assume, but like you're sitting there like 2, 3, 4 monitors, like. It's just you need access to more quick information, and if I can get that information by taking 1/10 of a second to look to the left or to the right or like up a little bit versus clicking, I'd rather do that. And that's the whole idea behind all of that, because everything you have to make is like quick snap decisions.
Yeah.
But anyways,
yeah, I still think there must be something they're going to do with that tech. I don't think they're just going to try and hammer out more Oculus, because it's not a market that's catching on with anybody.
Well,
like,
what I think would be
way.
cool to do with it would be if it was like for, I don't know if US had, I'm sure they had something similar, but in Canada we had Laser Quest. But if you did that, but it was like everybody gets like a VR headset and like a backpack that has the computer and all that shit on it. Like that'd be kind of cool, because now you can. Oh, if they do, there you go.
Wait, we're like running around like augmented reality style, like how Pokemon Go is like you're looking. And it's real life, but it's not real life, like that sort of thing.
No, this is just like
I was thinking like full.
VR.
It's like a video game, except you're like in a big warehouse running around with like a VR headset on type thing.
Oh, so like those places like real life Mario Kart that are coming up, right?
Yeah, that type of thing.
Yeah, they do have that. They do have places that are like they're multiplayer VR experiences where they do put you in a large area and you're all in the game together, but with headsets on.
That'd be pretty cool.
Actually,
I've done
yeah.
like those one where it's those bays or whatever. Like, so we did that, and it was like it was kind of cool, but it was also kind of like not great. But because it was using like the HTC Vive, I think it is, and with that one you get like you can be in like this, I don't know, call it like a 6x6 box or whatever, and walk around. So that thing was okay, but I don't know. It's definitely a do it one time thing and probably never do it again.
Well, you want to hear something funny? I actually did do that, and it was so enjoyable. I completely forgot about it. Like if you pull up Disney's thing, I was in a virtual Disney movie video game thing, and I was physically walking around and physically clicking buttons. Like, look over here, click this button. You click this, and you do. I had no idea what the hell we were doing on, but it was the Void. Yeah.
Oh, it is this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the website's dick, bud. Better get into VR and fix it.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's how well it's doing. But anyways, I remember I paid $40 for like whatever 20 minutes or 15 minutes. I'm like, oh, this sucked. Like, this is just the biggest waste ever. But I guess it does exist, and I did not enjoy it.
Well, the way I could see it being fun, it'd be this type of thing where you're like running around with your little headset and your gun and you're zapping people and shit. And like
and that's
where
doing.
It's fun, right?
Yeah, but
or I don't know if any of you guys, well, you guys weren't really gamers, but if you played Gears of War like back in the day, like Gears of War 10 years ago on Xbox 360 or something, where you shoot a guy in the head and his head explodes and stuff. Like doing that in VR would be fucking crazy. Or like Halo or something. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, just that, augmented reality sort of thing, where you're still physically moving around.
Yeah, there's a lot of games and stuff like that for kids they have now too, where they're like, where like a kid can like use an iPad or something, and they'll have like the game board, and then when you put the camera over it, it overlays like the characters and stuff. So like you're playing with like real pieces and like a real game board, but there's like digital elements that you're watching on the screen too. So it'd be cool to like see that with VR, where it's kind of like blending the two.
Yeah.
Here's another interesting thing in VR that's come up. It's I followed this like years ago, and then everyone stopped caring about it. But it's these omnidirectional treadmills. So I don't know.
Oh yeah. Well, that's like real old school, because like I remember that like in the 90s. Like obviously not like this, but like the real ghetto.
It's got a leash on.
That is something else.
This one I thought this was kind of interesting because you can it's basically like a mouse or whatever that you walk on or something, like one of those old 90s mouses inverted or something.
Yeah, but you know what I'm picturing right now with this thing? It's just like if you only worked out using the Smith machine, you don't have any of those stabilizer muscles. So like I could run so fast on this thing with it when you're being held
for
up.
anybody who's listening, basically what we're watching right now is imagine it's like a frictionless pad. And there's like a leash. You're attached to a leash on this boom arm, and you run in place, and it makes your guy in the video game run. So it's kind of like a life-size controller for your whole body type thing.
We should
Very
do a
odd.
collab with PornHub VR as well. You just run around bagging chicks on this fucking weird thing that's in the corner of your basement, and people walk in and they're really confused.
Oh my god. Yeah,
just to bring it back around.
hey, you never know. Like, I'm sure that stock one day is going to be worth something insane because those tech stocks that are out there that have no connection to reality. Like, hey, it doesn't matter. Hey, you want to make profit? No. Our valuation has nothing to do with profit. It's just all market share, good vibes, and really good vibes. I know I noticed today Tesla had quite the run at the end of the day. Bev, can you pull that up there? If we're looking at just even today's trading, like Tesla this year had an insane run, but like we're looking at it like right now from the beginning of the month till now, so we're 3 weeks in.
That's a 5-day window you're looking at there.
Yeah, let me do a one.
Well, that's just a 5.
So basically,
oh, holy shit. Oh my god! So we're looking.
And I'm pretty sure. So I think with Tesla too, I'm pretty sure they're not profitable yet. Like, if I remember right, I just read an article about Elon Musk going back to investors to try, or it might have been for SpaceX, but he's going back and trying to raise more and more money from investors. But this is a guy who effectively has unlimited money. Like when you talk about, you always describe rich people as having unlimited money, but this guy literally can get as much money as he wants from anybody. It's unbelievable. But anyway, so it's over the last month. If you bought it a month ago at $500, you're up $200 a share. Like that's unbelievable.
So you're up almost 40% over a month on a company that's worth $500 billion. Like its market cap now has to be over $500 billion, right? Like
658.
658, like a 40% increase. Like, did they open up like 10 of their gigafactories? Like, where the hell did this valuation comes from? Like this.
Why did?
Like,
this
why?
Is what I don't understand. Because like,
why
did it jump?
Yeah.
Because normally, like when you look at this, like the trading pattern here, so you're floating around this. I don't call it like 670 or whatever average.
Yeah.
And then it just bottoms out. So obviously somebody knew, or people knew something was going on, or they're betting against it, and then all of a sudden it jumps. So there must be some crazy thing.
If you're looking, for our YouTube viewers, you can follow along with us. For everyone on the pod, like we're looking at the end of the day here. So markets close at 4:00. Around 3:45, it crashes down to what did it bottom out at there?
Bottomed out at 635, call it.
It's 635, and then within 15 minutes it shot back up to 695. Like that's an insane end of day run.
10% for somebody if they timed it right.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's got to just be all those people triggering those like buys, like because like when you're doing some trades, like you can always set your buy order, your sell order to whatever. So it's like stop losses. So let's say you buy something at $10, you want to make sure you don't lose more than 20%. You can set your stop loss to $8, and then once it hits $8, it'll automatically send it out to the market to try to sell it at $8, and if not, it'll sell for like $7.95 or whatever it is. So at the end of the day, that must have been what happened, and then all those bots picked it up because the volume must have been clicking or something. Like I can't imagine that many people are looking at Tesla the last 15 minutes of the day. Like it's the last 15 minutes of the day on a Friday. Like people check out. Like the casual traders at least check out.
Oh yeah. And well, this is kind of interesting here. Just kind of jumping through these links, how they didn't put up the $100 million bond basically to the to Germany in order to build this gigafactory, which is kind of crazy because you would think that they would have that much cash on hand. I just wanted to check quickly to see what they had.
Well, did they issue more shares
tons of
this
cash.
year, or is this just like value on outstanding shares? Like, did they? Because I know they did a split like a couple times in the past 24 months. So a stock split being like for every one share you have, you'll now get 10 shares instead. So you're devaluing it to make it easier for people to get back in. But I think people don't realize that that's what's happening. So they say like, oh my God, Tesla was whatever. Like, I have no idea what it was a year ago. Like, let's say it was $1,000 and now it's down to $100. Oh my God, I got to get in now because it's going to be worth $1,000 again. Like, no.
Well,
like,
actually, did they split it, or was it a splitter or consolidation?
I think we got the old power of our friend Google. They're one of their biggest competitors or whatever. Even though they're not in the same space, they're still in the same space. It's all tech vibes, but I mean, yeah, they did a 5-to-1 split.
Oh, it was a split. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it was this year, right?
Yeah, it was
2020.
2020. Yeah.
There you go. And like, if we start off at 2020, can we see like just the 1 year? Because we're almost at the end of the year. Like what Tesla started at the beginning of the year. So at the beginning of 2020, their stock was at. I
think it's 81.12. The only thing I don't know if they adjust sometimes.
They adjusted in this one.
Yeah,
that's too bad. 81. Well, you could just do it. It was $400 at the beginning of the year, and now it's $700 because if it's 5-to-1 split, I just times it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. So yeah, you increased your value 90% this year. Like, how many more cars did they sell this year? Like, to double in value this, like, that's insane. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, can we look up and see how many cars, like, just see how many Tesla cars were sold this year?
Let's see. Here we go. We got deliveries by quarter.
Right.
Yeah, so here we go. So Q1, 88,000, 90,000, and then 139,000.
Okay.
So I don't know, what's that? That's 300, call it 300, about 300,000, 320,000 or something.
Yeah, and then so you got one more, and like, let's say it just continues on that trend in our 100. So let's say 400,000 to 500,000, somewhere in there. Like, who knows what they're going to finish off Q4 at. Now let's do one of their competitors. Pull up Ford, for example. How many vehicles did they deliver this year?
Did you see their monthly one there? Did it just flash on the screen?
No, I did not.
Oh, here is this yearly sales. Okay, so for 2020 so far, 1.8 million cars.
1.8 million. 1.8 million. Now, can you pull up Ford's current valuation?
Yep.
Yeah. So 1.8 million cars.
I was just laughing because the one screen said January 127,000.
Their market cap is 34 billion.
34. Well, let's look at like a Toyota, for instance. So Toyota's at 250 billion. Okay, how many cars does Toyota cars sold?
So 250 billion. So it's worth a third of what Tesla's worth. Okay.
So they're selling. Well, actually, let's go.
So Tesla, let's say 400,000 to 500,000, somewhere in there. 1,000 vehicles and.
Oh, this is just on Q3.
That was just Canada only, right? For some reason, pulled up Canada only.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I don't know if the other numbers were. I assume the other.
Yeah, the other ones were global.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I was just pulling Canada.
Yeah, so it's got to be something ridiculous, right?
Oh, here's detail. Well, okay, I guess we're getting right into
it.
So
we're Excel files now, boys.
Got the Excel here. Let me.
Come on, it's Toyota. They don't mess around, you know. They over-engineer everything.
Oh, actually, look, yeah.
I know at least one person that bought a Toyota this year, so they sold one.
I love Toyota. Everything Toyota does is so good. Anyway, here we got.
So we're actually looking at it for our listeners. We're actually looking at an Excel spreadsheet that they share, so we can actually get everything that they're looking at here.
And this is units sold, I would assume.
Does it have Middle East? Because that's got to be all like Tacomas or whatever. So, I'm not going to comment why I think that, but I think you boys know.
So for just October globally, is that what I see right there? That's that number.
Those are all
October
1988 Tacomas. They somehow sold in 2020. They're still rocking.
Here's 2020 cumulative. Yeah, here we go. So 6.9 million cars.
Oh my god.
Worldwide.
6.9 million.
Let's call it 7 million, boys.
Okay, okay,
Oh,
7
this
million.
Is, this is crazy.
7
Oh,
million.
actually, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, 7 million, and there were 200. They have market value of 250 billion versus 400,000 or round up 500,000 vehicles that Tesla sold, and there were 600 billion. Like there were triple what these guys are. Like how is that
down
possible?
14% too at 7 million?
Is that what
that last column was there?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I'm assuming that's what it is. They're year over year.
So
Well, here we can just do it real quick.
So you're sitting there. So Toyota sold 15 times the amount of vehicles, and they're worth a third of what Tesla is. See, this is the weird kind of culty vibe that all these tech companies have. Like, it doesn't matter if you make money, and it doesn't matter if you hit your targets. Like, it's all like, what do you stand for? Like, and Tesla stands for the future, technology, sexy. Like, their models S3, X, Y, like they're sexy vehicles. Like, they're marketing geniuses, but they don't make money. Like, what the hell are you buying?
I don't know who to liken it to. Like, if you go back into, say, late 90s, or you go into, like, up until the 2008, for instance, like, who's, like, the Tesla equivalent from those days? Like, is there anything like that? Has there ever been anything like a Tesla?
Well,
like, even, maybe not in terms of, like technology, but just in terms of, like, fanfare.
I don't know, like Tesla, there were a couple big IPOs recently, like Airbnb and DoorDash. Like, all these like Airbnb, of the three, like Airbnb I like the best, but I mean, they don't make money. Like, none of them make pull up DoorDash. Like DoorDash well, we can pull it up, and I don't want to misquote anything, but I want to see 2019 their profit margin on their orders, every order that goes out there. Like, it's insane when you just look at what they have and what their cost of acquisition is, and they lose money every single order that gets sent out. And who pays for that? Like, the investors. And like, once you go to an IPO, there you go, all your investors cashed out. Now all the people in the market are sitting there holding the bag. Like,
there you go. So you're holding the $154 million EBITDA, negative $154 million EBITDA.
Oh my
That's
God.
Pretty bad.
That's so bad. Like, you lost. So you had sales, right? Like, total revenue of $2.2 billion total revenue. Your cost.
Yeah, trailing 12 month there. So in the last 12 months, they're running 2.2 billion.
Yeah, and you managed to lose $150 million doing that. That is insane. That's insane. Like, it's just, oh, that's great. And on their launch, on their IPO, they doubled in value. They're a $150 billion company that doesn't make money.
And that's losing money on a year where their services used more than ever before. To, like, literally their biggest opportunity to make money.
Ever. Like, they don't make money. Every single order, like, if you own DoorDash, thank you so much, because every time I order DoorDash, you're helping pay for me to get my meal to my house. Thank you so much. Like, that, it just doesn't make any sense. And like, what's the game plan here? Like, is the game plan to just eliminate all of the competition, then triple the price? Well, guess what? If you even double the price of what it's going to cost me to get my food to my house, I'm not going to order there. I can get my ass in the car and get it there. That's it. Or the only real benefit to having like a DoorDash or an Uber or anything else besides their marketing, like, that's a huge thing to get your company out there. But like, let's say you're an established business, is that you don't have to hire a delivery driver and you don't have to pay for that need, but you do give up a percentage, whatever it is, 25, 35% of whatever the meal costs you pay Uber, DoorDash, whoever, plus us users pay delivery fees, and they still manage to lose money because it costs so much money to run a delivery platform. But let's say 5 years from now, DoorDash eliminates everybody else. They're the only ones in the game. They're like, hey, we want to start making money now, and we got to double our prices. People are just going to say, screw you. Could you imagine paying a 50% premium on your food because, oh, I want it delivered to me, or 100% premium on my food because I want it delivered? No, I'll just go there instead. I'll go there. I'll make it myself. I'll do anything in the world else besides paying that huge service fee.
There's even times where, like, not necessarily DoorDash, but like Skip or whatever, where I'll load my shit in there and then I'll look at like all the bullshit and like having to tip the guy and everything, and I'm like, nah, fuck this. I'll just drive there. So it's like it's already kind of happens too, right?
Oh yeah, this happens like every time we look at it. Like, we just ordered sushi the other day, and I was looking at it thinking, like all the, because they gave us like this. It was like 35 or 40% off. So like, oh hell yeah, we should do it. And then so we put the coupon in. We're like, it's the same price. It's the same price as just going there and picking it up. Like, it does make, like, I'm not ahead on this at all, really, except for some guy will like bring it to me or whatever. So then what I realized is like, so all that those fees they're tacking up, it's like 40%. That's 40% were the fees, plus they still have their margins on it. But as we're learning from this, somebody missed a cell in Excel when they were adding up all the fees you got to put on this stuff. But I don't know. So I mean, like, going forward, like, I don't understand this business. I just don't see how you can make any money on it.
Well, like,
this was interesting too. Just kind of, so just for the listeners, we're going through their just on Yahoo Finance high level financials. They basically have this huge deficit in their common stock equity. So it's like $1 billion deficit. So anytime you basically as you run a loss in your business over time, and you're funding the business through debt, or you're funding it through people investing in you, you tack up this big or you tack up a deficit. So this company has $1 billion deficit, which is unbelievable. That's massive. That's huge. That's $1 billion of basically value that hasn't been captured, pretty much, more or less.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, where are they going to get that? With another 150 million that they're going to lose next year?
and this is why, like, I hate to be Debbie Downer, but I am so convinced that so many of these companies, like, when you look at shit like this is a like, I don't know what their market cap is. Like, where are they sitting at here? 52 billion. This is a 53 billion dollar company, and it's basically it's unable to make money. Financially, it's dicked. Really, it's dicked. It's being funded by people just pumping cash into it. It's not a quality pile. Exactly. Yeah. It's a pile, and there's so many companies like this. There's tons of them, and this is just like, people are just like, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna invest in this. Like, the whole idea of fundamentals is gone. Like, the whole idea of buying a business that is profitable, it generates cash flow, is gone. And then last time this happened in 2008. This happened in, like 1999, 2000, or 2001,
or
like,
whatever it was. Like that like crash back then, because it's just. It's all hype. It's like that .com bubble all over again. Now it's the Silicon Valley pop, or whatever you want to call it. Like, who knows what they're going to call it? Like, in the
Silicon Valley slum.
Ooh, there you go. Like,
yeah.
Because
you think about, like, just like, I know the company itself isn't making money, but sort of off topic but also on topic is, like, did you guys ever see that article they put out where they broke down, like, if you're gonna go drive like Uber or any of these delivery services and stuff like that, like, how you're basically fucking yourself if you think you're gonna make money on it, because when you actually break it down and do the math, it's not even worth your time versus just going and getting a job.
Certain air quotes, certain things yes, certain things no. Like, I personally a while ago I was just curious. I'm like, okay, I have a goal. I need to make this goal. I can only work at my job this many hours. I can only make this much, like, I can make around this much commission. I have free time on the weekends. I need to do some more. And so I talked to Uber, and I'm like, okay, how much of the actual ride, like, so I get in an Uber and I pay $15 to take me from downtown to my house, or I pay $20. How much of that $20 goes to me, the driver, versus to you, Uber? And I tried for the life of me every single answer over and over again, because every time you create a new ticket with any type of big company like that, you always get a different person. I could not get a straight answer. I'm like, I don't care if it's 50-50 split. I don't care. Just tell me what the percentage is. And I could not get, for the life of me, one straight answer. I obviously never did drive for it, because you're doing the math, and the type of vehicle I drive is not suited for that. Like, it was a German vehicle. Like, it costs a shit ton of money to repair and a shit ton of money to service. Like, it's not worth my time. Like, even though you're getting more money for the fare, it's not worth your time and money to have a vehicle like that you're driving for Uber. All I'm thinking is, like, how many times? Yeah.
The article was kind of pointing that out too. It was more about, like, as a side gig in addition to, having a full-time gig or whatever. It's not a bad idea. Like, if you can swing it, you have the right vehicle and stuff like that. But people who quit their job or rely on it for full-time, income, you literally are screwing yourself. By the time you look at, like, your maintenance and your gas, and, like, you have to keep a certain age of car too. Like, you're not allowed to have an old shitty broken down car either. And, like, it's just all the fucking around. And then, like, you got the guys who go above and beyond, and they put, like, water and shit there to try and get you to tip, and, like,
for 20, 30 grand.
It's like, you're fucking yourself, really.
Like so I was talking to every time I got in an Uber for a while, I was just talking to them, and, like, they would open up as soon as I said, like, I'm considering driving for Uber, I'm just waiting for whatever. They would open up and they would show me how much money they make and things like that. And
don't do it, bro.
Oh no! Like, some of them are loving it, and they're like, get a van, and, like, the guy's, like, showing me, he's like, every weekend I make $300 a night working for 12 hours, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, like, you're putting so much wear and tear on your vehicle, and you're driving around strangers all over the place, like, for $300. Like, I don't care. I don't care about it. Like, I can, like, at the end, like, instead of doing that, I just put in more time and made more commission, and I came out even further ahead than driving for it, and just spending more time on the phone and sending emails. Like, I just
that's the thing. If you have a skill, because like that's for that guy that in that example, that's $30 an hour basically driving people around. It's like, so you spent 12 hours to make $300. Like, you can, if you have a skill, you can make $300 and a hell of a lot faster.
And he's gonna be taxed on it too, right? Like, he's not getting
and that's
$300.
the thing.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the other joke about this thing. So up here in Canada, Uber automatically takes taxes right off the top of it, because a lot of like, I was talking in Toronto to this is just completely, like, anecdotal evidence or whatever. But I was talking to, it happened twice. These two guys, like, I work here in Canada for 6 months, and then I go back home to my home. I make my 30 grand, and I go back home, and I got my house, and I got my second house, and all my family. I support them on this $30,000, which is insane. Like, insane that you can support a family and have houses for 30 grand. But it's because they're coming from a shithole country. Like, and that's just reality. You think those people are paying income taxes? No, they sign up on Uber. Like, I don't know how many times people have got in an Uber. You see the picture, and you look at the person there, like, this is not this person. But whatever, like, it is what it is.
I'm drunk. I'm getting in anyway.
I'm getting in anyways, and I'm not going to pay double the price to get in the taxi with some dude who, I don't know. Like, I've
paid
taken
$100 grand for his taxi fucking license, and he's pissed.
No, it's like $300 grand up here. Like, it's insane. Like, it's just a weird thing that eventually it's got to collapse. Like, Uber's prices over the past, like, I haven't taken an Uber, like, in the pandemic, like, just a handful of times. I remember one day we even tried to get an Uber, and there were just none in our area for, like, an hour, like, which is insane. There are just no Ubers. Like, you never see that unless it's, like, New Year's Eve and it's 10 times the value or whatever. Like, surcharge for the 5-minute drive is going to be $100. Like, I'm not taking that. But I mean, like, actually no Ubers available. Okay, well, I guess you got to call a taxi and wait the 45 minutes or whatever. Man, gig economy. It's a weird thing. Like, and I know, like, we can go down a conspiracy theory hole, but I was looking at that Great Reset thing that a lot of those conspiracy sites are talking about and claiming against, and, like, I watched that hour and a bit talk that they did before the next summit that's coming up next month, and I didn't see what the big deal was. Like they were saying some things. They did touch a bunch on the gig economy, saying how it's not sustainable, and like if we continue down this route, like we're going to devalue our own labor even more. Like the separation between healthcare, like sick days, all those things, like which happens in the gig economy. If we continue to support that more and more, and actual jobs disappear to this, how fundamentally we're going to destroy the I hate using this, like the lower class compared to the upper class, and there's going to be more of a divide. That divide already exists. It's desperation that causes people to work these jobs. Like no one's forcing you to do anything. Like a great example of this, like who's out in the fields farming? Like anyone could go get a job for minimum wage or less. Like up here it's legal to pay them less than minimum wage. Don't pay overtime and things like that. But no one who's here legally is going to sign up for that. Like no one's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to work for $9 an hour Canadian, which is like $6 an hour US, to go slave in a field all day long. But there are people from other countries that are definitely willing to come up here on work visas and do that. Mm-hmm. And because consumers want their zucchinis or whatever for 99 cents a pound, that's what they have to pay to do it, because like the biggest cost in that is the labor. That's just it. So rather we pay more money for our goods, which no one wants to do because other countries will just ship it in, or you just import labor. And in this case, we're importing the gig economy people and taking over from taxis.
Mm-hmm. Well, we want to get our Amazon deliveries on time to our average house of 600,000.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Just thought I'd segue us into our next thought of the night here.
Yeah. Like, Bev,
this is crazy because this is funny when so there's this CBC article describing the average Canadian house expected to hit 620,000 next year, and of course keep in mind like this is heavily driven by the Toronto and Vancouver market and a little bit by the Ottawa market, but that's an insane price, because back in the day, like the old rule of thumb was buy a house that's like 2.5 or 3 times your household income.
Yeah,
but obviously that's totally out the window now, and this is what and I guess there's 2 factors. I guess like the primary factor is the interest rates, I would say, since it's effectively virtually free to borrow money. Like if you're putting 5% down, you can get a 1% more interest rate on your mortgage from HSBC right now. And if you even at TD, I think you probably get like 2%, 1.7, whatever. Like that's insanely low. If you go back in late 80s, mid 90s, you could have upwards of a 10, even 20% back in the 80s interest rate. So to have that
free
movement
money
is unbelievable. Yeah, it's free money, but as a result, I mean, you've basically driven up the asset prices, and it could be any asset. I mean, you look at stocks in terms of price to earnings, which is generally how you compare them, like an easy way to compare them. It's through the roof. It's massive. You can have like 20 times price to earnings ratios. Like it's just through the roof. Your housing prices are huge. Your commercial property costs are huge. Like everything is just massive. And it's because all this money's been pumped into the economy. Started in 2008 when they were trying to float all those banks that were going under, so they just pumped money into the economy. Keynesian economics, which as it turns out doesn't work so good. But anyway, they just pumped the money into the economy, and so all this, and it doesn't go away. This is what people don't realize. Like when you create, say like Trump and the Democrats and all them, and
$3 or $4 trillion bucks.
Yeah, when you make $4 trillion, like it doesn't just like disappear. It goes in the market. There. It's there. There is $4 trillion of money that is floating around, and so it has to go somewhere, and it all just concentrates into these assets. So it creates a huge problem. So if you're like a young person, if you're a millennial and you're trying to get into these markets, I mean, unless you owned assets, if you were an asset owner from day one, then okay, great, you're all good because you benefited. But if you weren't an asset owner, you're screwed because your wages did not go up at the same rate that all these assets did. And of course you've got boomers coming back saying, oh well, you guys didn't work hard in your day and blah blah blah, this this and that. It's like, give me a fucking break. I mean, when you started out, you were likely a single income household, and then a couple years later, your wife started working, and then look at you now. You're laughing. Like most boomers should be laughing, but it's a joke.
Yeah, like I remember, and now my father realized it. Well, he's come to terms with it quite early, but he was telling me when he was first starting off out of school, he got a job, $25 an hour, and he bought his first house for $60,000. So you're there making $25 an hour, plus he was working overtime, we're making even more, and you can go out and buy a house for 60 grand or 65 grand, whatever he bought his first place like that. Yeah, no kidding. Like that's insane. And then now, like same thing. Like you're fresh out of school. Like you might make $20 an hour, maybe 25, but your starter home now is $600,000. So your next year will be $620,000, 10 times the amount, but you make the same wage or less. Like, what the hell? Like what the hell are you supposed to do? Like
the whole idea is I can't imagine, like, in that's a great example of it. Like coming out of school, so you're just say he's 26, and you're making $25 an hour, and just say that's like 1985. Like that $25 an hour goes far, far. Like that's I don't know. It just drives me absolutely crazy because we are so, for millennials and the younger generation, like it's such a shitty situation we've been put into. It's basically where you are totally reliant on banks. Like in Canada, for instance, I say we are totally reliant on banks to own assets.
Well, can you check and see? Like I know last year, like Canada's debt to earnings ratio was like 1.6 or 1.67, something like that. I don't know if they'd have the 2020 out there yet, but like that's insane. Like how much debt is out there in Canada? Like Canadians love, like, well, there's that. Like Canadians love to borrow money.
Debt to disposable income, which is an interesting one because it looks at like your debt service basically is effectively what it's doing.
This is on Stat Canada, by the way, for anyone who's listening. So it's a legit number we're looking at here.
Yeah, and sorry, it's a little too small for me to look at, but that's even from 2018. So like that's the 2018 number. So we're at 180% right now, or just
because if you it's effectively doubled basically. If you go back to say 1990, so you had a debt to disposable income ratio of about, I don't know, call it like 85 or something like that. Now this is 2018, I think, but it was at 178. So it's a massive jump, and it's different types of debt too that are a factor. Obviously, you have your mortgage debt, but you have like consumer debt too, or things like credit cards, and that's what's killing people when you have like a 20, 25, 30% interest rate on that consumer debt.
Yeah, 2001 to 2010. Look at the incline. That's where it just fucking took off.
Yeah. And this is where like that whole idea of Keynesian economics really started to kick in. They started pumping money, like let's just pump money into the monetary system, or have the Federal Reserve pump money into the system, and it just inflated, and it just kept going. And then all through the Obama years, like when was the last time we had an interest rate that was over like 5%? You know, it's like you're going way back. It's unheard of now. Like imagine if that happened now, you'd have, three quarters of the country would be underwater.
Well, so here in Canada, here's an interesting thing. So a lot of those advertised rates that you see, like you'll see 1% or 1.3% mortgage rate locked in for 5 years, or get your mortgage locked in for 10 years for less than 2%. Big asterisk on there if you are a high ratio borrower. And a high ratio borrower means you put down less than 20% here in Canada. So between 5 and 20%. What that means is you have to go to CMHC, Canada Mortgage. What is CMH? What's that?
Mortgage Housing Corporation.
Yeah, so they insure the mortgage. So you'll pay a percentage of whatever the house value is to CMHC, and CMHC will insure the mortgage. So the lenders want these high ratio mortgages because if you default on it, don't worry, the old CMHC, which is a government corporation, is going to come step in and pay out the remaining balance that's out on them. So these borrowers, hell yeah, let's give you as much money as you can. You're going to pay your 15, 20 grand to CMHC. And if in 10 years, like you jack up the interest rates up to, let's say 4%, which is like triple what the 1.5 we're going to give you, you're fucked. You can't afford that increase in your monthly payments. That would like effectively double your monthly payments. You can't afford that for the same house. You walk away, and the mortgage company still gets their money anyway. So it doesn't matter. It's a win-win situation for the lenders, and it's a lose-lose for the buyers and the buyers times two, because the buyers are also the taxpayers, and the taxpayers are CMHC. Like I don't get it. Like I know
it's a strange world. Like we're in it's the other thing that I kind of liken it to is if you go buy a car. Like when you buy a car, you would think the ideal way, and if you're the dealer, the ideal way is you have somebody come in, cut you a check for the car, and away you go. It's like, okay, great, I get my money right now, I get my margin, he gets a car, everybody's happy. But that's not the way. It's they want the financing, they want the fees that come with that, they want that regular cash flow you get from some dude paying you whatever a month, right? It's this crazy world, because it's all kind of shifted. Because if you go back, like say 20 years ago, I bet you that dealer would have preferred you gave him the cash rather than the financing. But now, not the case.
20 years ago, if you went to Ford or Toyota or whatever, I'm just using those examples because we talked about them earlier, they would be doing that borrowing through some third party. So it wasn't benefiting them at all. But now when you go to those companies, you're using Ford Credit, you're using Toyota Financial. Like they're backing it themselves, right? So that's the difference, is now they're getting you on both ends of it, right? So
and when you say they, it's corporate Ford and corporate Toyota is getting double ending from the dealers, because those dealers are independent dealers. So they sell their product to the dealer, who has to buy it from them or finance it from them. And then they also have to their customers have to finance it from them. Like it's a fantastic business model. Like it's great, but it's just very, very, I want to say greasy, but like, I don't know how to
make your money somehow.
Yeah, you do, and it's pumping people into cars and trucks that they obviously can't afford. But anything else on this site here that you can see about what we're trending towards in 2021? Like I really don't. I'm really curious to see. Like I guess we won't see these numbers for another few months, but it would be really good to see like where that 6-month break that we got up here in Canada, like where banks could offer 6-month mortgage deferrals to help with the COVID-19. So obviously I'm sure some people actually needed that, but I'm sure there was a larger chunk of people who took those deferrals because they could, and then just blew that extra whatever $2-3 grand a month that they were spending on their mortgage. Now they're just pumping it into some other shit. Like there's no way that people are, I want to say smart enough or responsible enough to spend that money wisely. But
yeah, and just like
I don't think anybody really crunches the numbers on that stuff. Like if you actually look at what the cost, that deferral cost was versus like what you're gonna spend all that shit on, like is it really worth it in the end? But
yeah. And anyways, the funny thing is those deferrals and that, initially early on in like March or whatever, banks were really hammering on, making sure they were only giving them out to some people. But then like pretty much once we kind of realized this was going longer than 3 weeks, they were just hammering everybody 6 months, you get 6 months, you get 6 months. Yeah, so
you just
the
get
other
6
shoe's going to
months.
drop, right? Is what you're saying pretty much. So we're curious to see if and when that happens, what that looks like for sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to pick this topic up again in the new year when the feds release some data from 2020, or not even the feds, just the banks, because the feds are going to take a year to release this data probably. But on that note,
banks will put it all out.
Yeah. On that note, guys, well, it was a great show tonight. Join us again later on this week, and thanks for joining us.